How do we get to this 10 trillion? Is Nvidia becoming the most valuable company in the U.S., or do we see these other tech giants moving higher along with it?
Yes, and let me remind you that I had said years ago that NVIDIA would surpass Apple to become the world's most valuable company. Now it's nipping at its heels. What is going on with NVIDIA that is unique from a company like Apple or Microsoft is, as you know, it's fueling the AI infrastructure. This is really important to understand because Hopper architecture drove us to about 90 billion data center revenue. NVIDIA is quickly releasing the next architecture. It's called Blackwell. It will be out before the end of this year. That, we think, can bring us to a $200 billion data center by the end of fiscal year 2026. So that's calendar 2025, meaning that this next cadence of the generation, which is Blackwell, will equal or slightly exceed Hopper. And there's reasons for that, which is that it will empower and enable trillion plus parameter large language models, which is exactly where big tech is trying to go. So those components all together equal a very large hardware data center segment. Then we have software coming, which I could talk at length about, but I won't, I'll be brief. And then the third one is automotive. So we have a lot coming. This is very, very early for NVIDIA, and there's a few layers to it.
All right, so a lot coming. By the way, Beth, I know you're in Colorado, which I know is Coach Prime country. A lot of optimism. I know you got to believe out there. But your price target's kind of pending on a lot of assumptions, if you will. So one of the assumptions is that the estimates for data centers are too low, and also that the market for the TAM, I should say, for chips is also too low. You cite Lisa Su and other chip CEOs saying that basically the market's even bigger than we all think. Isn't this just a little bit bubblish? I mean, just this idea that no matter what the estimates are, there's even more room to go?
I'm glad that you brought up Lisa Su and then Intel's CEO as well. Lisa Su has a $400 billion data center segment by 2027. What my forecast is that NVIDIA will take the lion's share of that. Intel has a $1 trillion TAM by 2030. Again, my forecast is NVIDIA will take the lion's share of that. So I think that those TAM estimates are in line, and what now needs to be decided is who will get how much of the pie.
So you're also saying that their moat is sustainable, even as we see, you know, a real build out of chip production here in the United States. And of course, other companies are trying to catch up, not to mention the number one customers, I should say, are making their own chips and actually becoming competitors. So how much longer do you see this moat lasting for another 5 years, or does this moat continue to last because you feel like NVIDIA is continuing to ramp up?
There are a few elements there, which is that when big tech makes custom silicon, they're mainly doing it to optimize their own applications. They won't ever become merchant. They won't ever compete on merchant silicon. So what that means is they're not going to commercialize and sell chips the way that NVIDIA does. So NVIDIA has an open runway there. Secondly, the CUDA software platform is what developers learn on. So similar to iOS is really what locked people into the iPhone, because developers were developing applications for the iPhone. The same thing is happening with NVIDIA, which is that the CUDA platform is what software engineers, AI engineers are learning in order to program GPUs. So that helps lock them in. And that combination, right now, I'm calling it an impenetrable moat. So This is not a moat that I see being something that would crumble or erode. Although I do think that, you know, let's fast forward 2030.
Is it too late to purchase NVIDIA stock following the split of 10 for 1? This, along with how NVIDIA's hot start to 2024 is doing, we will cover in today's video. In the meantime, if you want to remain up to current on the most recent news regarding NVIDIA and the stock market, make sure you subscribe to our channel. To make sure you don't miss the most recent updates, click the follow button. We share updates on the greatest changes and catalysts in the market. Let's return to the video for today. One of the trendiest sectors for investors at the moment is artificial intelligence, AI. Wall Street analysts view NVIDIA, the semiconductor darling and data center expert, as a lucrative possibility for AI enthusiasts. Given that NVIDIA's stock has increased by more than 170% in 2024, some investors might feel that they missed the mark. Let's examine NVIDIA's current state and determine whether it is still a good opportunity to purchase shares. A new era in the IT sector began in 2023. Giants like Amazon, Microsoft, and Alphabet have all made a number of high-profile investments focused on artificial intelligence, AI, applications. These tech behemoths have increased their data center services and purchased AI-enabled semiconductor chips, among other significant investments. Considering that Nvidia is thought to hold an 80% market share for AI chips, these huge tech actions surely helped the firm greatly.
To lay out the company's longer-term vision and what he calls is the start of a new industrial revolution. He also provided an update on Nvidia's Blackwell, the highly anticipated AI platform that is expected to come to market before the end of the year. He didn't really provide an update on the timeline, but Huang does have very, very high hopes.
The Blackwell architecture platform will likely be the most successful product in our history, and even for the entire computer, even of the entire computer history.
Now, Huang went on to outline the role that NVIDIA's Gen AI products are playing across different industries, from healthcare, where it's working with Johnson & Johnson, Medtronic, Amgen on gene sequencing and drug discovery, the cloud players, Meta, Microsoft, Google, among others. Huang also added that NVIDIA is taking a collaborative approach on privacy and regulation, working with state and federal agencies to address these issues.
2024 saw a significant continuation of the AI frenzy from the previous year, as Nvidia stock continues to rise in value among investors. To put this in perspective, since January 2023, Nvidia's share price has climbed by about 800%. Nvidia briefly overtook Microsoft as the most valuable corporation in the world based on market capitalization thanks to this extraordinary run. Furthermore, last month, Nvidia's management made the decision to ultimately execute a 10-for-1 stock split, as shares kept surpassing all-time highs. Nvidia offers opportunities beyond chips. It's amazing how much of the story around Nvidia revolves around the company's chip division. Indeed, businesses worldwide, such as Tesla and Meta platforms, utilize its H100 and A100 graphics processing units, GPUs. Moreover, with the release of its new Blackwell and Rubin processors, Nvidia is maintaining its position as the leader in GPU innovation. Having said that, it's crucial to realize that Nvidia also generates revenue from other goods and services. In actuality, there are growth prospects outside of hardware for it that are less well known. The Compute Unified Device Architecture, CUDA, software platform from Nvidia is already demonstrating strong financial results. CUDA is essentially a programming tool designed to be used in tandem with Nvidia GPUs. Thus, the business is trying to create a complete AI ecosystem that includes both software and hardware. Nvidia will need CUDA in large part because of the intense competition in the chip industry. Businesses like AMD, Intel, Amazon, and Meta are all developing GPUs that compete with Nvidia's. I believe it's fairly safe to predict that Nvidia will eventually lose some of its pricing power in the semiconductor area, even though it's too early to tell how these competing products will affect the company. Nvidia's profit margins will therefore probably suffer at some point in the future. For as long as CUDA is successful, part of this margin degradation should be avoided. Is this a favorable moment to purchase Nvidia stock? But before that, thank you for watching the entire way through. It takes a lot of work and time to create these videos, so if you liked it, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support will greatly aid in our growth. Now back to the video.
Let me just stop. Impenetrable moat, $10 trillion market cap. Billion's nothing. $10 trillion market cap. I think we do have to play devil's advocate. I know Kramer watches. He's going to send me an email right after this, but we got to play devil's advocate. In fact, somebody already did it for me. KKR's Henry McVeigh spoke to us last week, and he downplayed the role of AI when it comes to the increased productivity and increased profitability. I want you to listen. I want to get your take on what he has to say.
Okay.
Right now, we're seeing a surge in productivity. It's not AI driven. It's driven by the CapEx that we saw during COVID, and that's led to more corporate profitability efficiency.
All right, your take. It's not necessarily AI, which is seeming to be the consensus. I think a lot of us thought AI is what's really helping this earnings season. He says it's CapEx, actually from a couple years ago during the pandemic. Agree or disagree?
Disagree. Strong disagree. CapEx has been going up phenomenally. Just happened again. Q1 reports came in for full year guide. But ultimately, what we're having two different discussions, and that's where people are getting confused, is that corporate productivity is one thing. Big tech is an entirely different thing. Meta can optimize social media and ads without having to go out and market productivity to customers. Google, obviously, we're going to see that with the search engine. Apple has a wide runway on what they can optimize. Tesla is another one. Lots of R&D going on at that company. They don't need to go out and sell productivity like an enterprise company or an SMB. So those are two very different discussions. Big tech is already seeing the benefits.
Prices for Nvidia for the previous 12 months, as measured by price to earnings, P/E, and price to free cash flow, P/FCF. Even though a P/E of 75.9 and a P/FCF of 82.2 seem high, there are a few things to consider in this situation. First off, compared to a year ago, Nvidia's P/E and P/FCF multiples are both lower. Put another way, Nvidia's cash flow and earnings are growing more quickly than the stock price, which means that even though the stock price has risen quickly, Nvidia's stock is really less costly now than it was a year ago. Furthermore, more research needs to be done on Nvidia's unsung software services and dominance in the semiconductor market. One of the most valuable AI startups in the world, Databricks, is backed by the firm. Additionally, Nvidia invests in Figure, a company that creates humanoid robots. I don't believe that Nvidia's stock is now priced for the potential in robotics and AI software. I believe that the success of the semiconductor business has eclipsed many of these applications at the moment, and investors are undervaluing Nvidia's potential in other AI-related fields. Through Nvidia alone, long-term investors have the chance to learn about a wide range of AI-related topics. Nvidia stock is a strong purchase right now, and significant upside could very well be in store, despite the share price's spectacular climb, according to the valuation analysis shown above and some of the other growth potential examined. It may be a good idea for investors seeking portfolio growth to think about a company's future before purchasing its shares. A stronger investment thesis would be significant growth potential at a low price, even though value investors would contend that the inherent value in relation to the price is what matters most. It is anticipated that NVDA's earnings would triple in the upcoming years, pointing to a very promising future. Stronger cash flows as a result ought to increase share value. What are your thoughts on Nvidia's stock? Is it worth buying at the moment? Please share your opinions with us in the comments below, and don't forget to share your NVDA valuation with us.